So, got bored with all the fiberglass in. So I've got two lots, as I said, I think in a previous video. I've got 25mm, might be 20mm, and this is sort of, it's high density, so it's chip foam, and and I've got 50mm 2-inch, much thicker, and this is actually a higher density as well. So the look that I'm going for, rather than, which I've done previously on the pillion, which is a nice deep foam. The reason I had deep foam was for two reasons. I've got long legs, and when I'm doing long distance, maybe a little bit of touring, and I've got my wife pillion on the back, then I want something that's ultimately comfortable. It also gives me a little bit more leg room, and just generally I didn't like the shape, I think, of the previous one, which, although the seat was set quite low, had quite a lot of foam, but was set so that your average Italian, you know, 5'8", 5'9", can reach the floor comfortably, and I'm 6 foot, nearly 6'3". So with this though, I want it much more lower profile, and I have the challenges are on the base. So these deep ridges here, these two ridges here, I took a mould off the previous seat, and that's to allow the battery cables. So the battery sits quite high up here, and that allows the battery cables to connect it all up without rubbing. And there's also just a little bit of strengthening kind of diagonal in here, which I think is part of their design. So what I want to do is use this as to cover the upstand, if you like that, but I don't want a great big thick wodge on the sort of on that angle. The problem is that I think it's still going to feel those two ridges. So first of all, I'm going to cut a piece, and then I'm going to backfill these two areas here, and on the other side there's a bit of a dent there, and in between the two as well. So I've got kind of three areas, 1, 2 and 3, just to sort of smooth it out a little bit, and then I'll put the 1-inch foam over the top. That's what I'm going to do first. The other thing is that originally I think I'd envisaged doing a sort of a 2-inch foam like that, and then just sort of bending it up for that rear tail piece like that. But in my many YouTube videos that I've been looking at, and you learn something off of everyone, I can't remember which one it was, but it was a seat that was being professionally covered, and they'd done the foam work as well, and they'd actually done the foam in sort of 3 sections, if you like. So 1, 2, and then cut the flat bit in, and that way making sure that you get a nice sharp sort of, or sharpish stepping sort of, rather than a sort of a curve which blends itself in. So I think that's the way to do it. So first I'm going to do this bit, then I'm going to do that bit, and then I shall lay the foam in on the third bit, and then it's just a case of sculpting it a little bit around the edge. So I'll glue it on, tape it up, and then I will then just sort of sculpt it around the edges, making sure that it's a nice feel about it, but I want to keep it sort of as low profile as possible, and at that point I will sit on it as well, and just check that this step here, this box, isn't coming through the foam as well. Shouldn't do, because when this one goes down like that, I think it's going to come down to about there. But what I don't want to do is be sort of find out that's just every bump I go over that's hitting sort of a bony part in the bum. So I want it nice, sort of thin looking, but I don't want to be crippled every time I hit a pothole, of which there are very many. So I have a trusty knife with me. I have spray polyurethane adhesive, which worked very well last time. Let's get going. So I'm just trimming this. Obviously the profile to fit in with the tailpiece and the upstand, but at the same time cutting a curve in to fit around that upstand, which has got a slight curve to the tank. So I'm just doing it bit by bit, and I'm using the edge of the, because you can't look at both sides of it at the same time, I'm using this so I don't cut too deep into the top surface, and then I can draw a line here and I can cut at an angle, so I'm moving it around gradually and gently so that I don't cut in too deep. I mean, it's all going to be under a cover. And even if I cods it right up, I'm not going to show you, like, am I? Just kidding. Right, moving on. So just cutting that bit out there so that sits on there without feeling any compression on my spot. So that's all coming together reasonably well, I think. Needs to be a little bit deeper, I think. Yeah, but it's in the right spot. So I think I'm reasonably pleased with the way that that's all coming together. It's all angled, as you can see there, and I've done it like this because then there's not going to be any peeling down of any surfaces or thick spots of compression. Is my take on the logic. As I said, I've seen someone else do a professional seat like this and thought, that makes sense. What I might do is just something along the lines of a little bit there, just because obviously my groin doesn't almost go at right angles, and so I might just put a little bit of something in there. Not this bit, it's a bit scraggy, but something along the lines there, just to soften that. Because I think the other thing is that when they come to do a seat cover, obviously seat covers, you can pull them as tight as you want and all the rest of it, but they don't fit nicely into an internal corner. So just by putting in a little bit of a triangle there, just to soften that, hopefully that will make that a little bit easier. This one's much more gentle angle, and hopefully that won't be too bad. And as I take these off until I get some more glue, as you can see, that's nicely sort of cut in to deliver the angle, but also that box where the fuses and wiring relays go. So that it's nicely shaped, and of course that's quite a complex curve with an angle on it as well. So yeah, I think worthwhile doing. The thing is, if you just slap it in any old house, they put a really nice cover on it, and then it all starts going lumpy, you'll be like, damn. So it may be a little bit over the top, but I think it's worth doing in the long term. So my concern was that this, I didn't want something that was too thin and was going to be crippling with every little bump and pothole coming up. But it is very high compression, so I thought I'd give it a little try. On the other hand, it's quite deep, so it does allow me to reduce some of the foam to make it a little bit more comfortable. It does seem very, I know it's on a centre stand type of arrangement, so the back wheel is a good 3 inches, nearly 3 inches off the bike lift, and also obviously there's no compression on the rear shock, so it is a little bit higher than normal, but with the angle of the frame and not the deep cushioning at the front, the seat does seem at quite an angle, which is putting a bit of pressure on you, right the back of your bum. Oh. So I might have to sculpt a little bit just here. I can't go too deep, obviously, because of the fuse box, but bouncing up and down, can't feel anything coming through, so got a little bit of scope, I think, for some adjustments, but at the moment it just seems to be sitting right there on the bony part of my bum. Time will tell. Yeah, I mean, this isn't going to be nearly as high anyway, because I'm going to cut that level. I don't want to do any cutting until the foam is actually glued on. But yeah, we'll get there. The next thing to do is to glue it on and then tape it up temporarily, so that for just an hour or so until the contact adhesive sets off. But slight tragedy, the glue's gone off in the aerosol. There's no bloody use at all, and of course lockdown. But I've sourced a local screw fix do click and collect, which is right opposite Asda. So when I go and get some food, I can pick that up too. So that's it for the moment. There's always tomorrow. Right, finally got some spray contact adhesive, so I can start to build the foam together now, and then I'm going to leave that sort of probably for an hour there afterwards. Right. I know it's contact adhesive, but it's quite warm, and it really is very, very sticky, and I didn't want to let it go off until it was super tacky, because if you get it wrong you just can't get it off and it would just tear the foam to bits. So by putting it on a little bit earlier, it just allows a little bit of slippy, which was needed. But already, you know, God, I would really struggle to get that off in one bit. So and because it's not on a curve and it's laying flat, that's actually gone on very well, so I won't need to take that up. It's cracking stuff. Can't use it on polystyrene though, it just melts it. That's good. So I've just marked out here the areas which it comes up to, just so that I can spray those areas in glue, and obviously the seat base and everything that is going to be touching. Good fun. It's quick, it's rewarding, and then I can in an hour's time I can start shaving it all off to my heart's content, gently, bit by bit, so I don't overcook it. So you can't sort of put it back on. and as you can see there, nice and snug, and the this layer here will keep these down and we won't get any sort of peeling back or shifting of this back piece, I think is the theory. That's how I've seen it done on YouTube. So yeah, that's all nice and solid. And I think the, I mean, although that this is 2-inch foam across here, because the bike, the frame of the seat is sort of upwards anyway, plus the frame and the seat is actually slightly elevated, and you can see that with this depth here. I might be actually, I think, just reducing this down a little bit at the back here, because as I said, I think when I tried the seat it felt like a little bit too much pressure here. I can't do that too much because of that box there for the fuses, wiring and relays, but it is very dense foam, so have some fun sculpting that very soon. Cool. Let's open the garage door before I pass out with the fumes. Yes, quite pleased with that. It's coming on. So before I start patting myself on the back, I've of course forgotten about this piece here, which I now need to just tuck in there and glue on. So yep, let's give that a go. Voila. Okay, that's it for this episode. In the next episode, I'm going to start trimming the foam down, which I won't lie is a little bit more tricky than it sounds, and the most difficult thing is where to start. So if you're watching it in almost real time, that hopefully should be sometime tomorrow. So I'll catch up with you then.